Good evening, friends. I welcome you back to the final session of the first day of Induction Ignite 2020. I'm Professor Arpit Trivedi, your event host and moderator. Let me take you through the process of how we will conduct the webinar today. Our guest will address the batch for 1 hour. First 50 minutes will be knowledge sharing, and last 10 minutes will be questions and answers. Students are encouraged to put their relevant to the topic questions in the chat box. Perfection is not achieved when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Today's distinguished guest lives by this principle, and I'm fortunate to have witnessed this in person. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Milind Mutalik. Milind sir is associated with Accolite Software India as Chief People Officer. Sir is also member Academic Advisory Council at IIEBM. Milind sir has 28 years of rich experience spanning in industries like IT, ITES, manufacturing, and consulting. Sir has served in various responsible positions in all the key functions of HR during his tenure. Sir has done postgraduate certificate in HRM from XLRI and is alumnus of prestigious SIBM Pune. Milind sir has published 2 white papers, namely Managing Innovation in Turbulent Times and Employee Engagement Learning from Cross Industries. Sir has been awarded 100 HR Achiever Award and Pune Top HR Leadership Award by World HRD Congress. Sir is a passionate speaker and a teacher at heart, delivering courses and guest talks on various subjects in the area of HRM since 2008. Now, I request Milind sir to open his address to the eager audience. Over to you, sir.
Good evening to all of you. How are you feeling on the day one? Great. Yeah, so I know all of you have been put on mute, and I know this is a new way of working, as we call it, a new normal. So thanks to our friend Arpit to take me through my own introduction. Felt good about it because these are the occasions when one introduces you and you realize moreover what kind of a responsibility you have got. Because he has said so many words about me, then I need to really stand for it and make something fruitful for all of you in next 50 minutes. So Arpit, with your permission, do I start?
So please, with due respect.
Okay.
Please.
So I will be taking you through about 10 slides, but before I get onto the slides, which I'll be helped by our friend there, and what I want to say is all of you are having some questions in your mind, dilemmas in your mind. But let me tell you one very important, very important point, that this is the time which is the best time. Anybody who gets a normal time to work on a normal things is able to do what is predicted earlier or being experienced earlier. Now, this is the time when you are going to start something which is completely different. Or I would say the change from the previous one to this one. So all of us have experienced globally last 3 to 4 months of a different time. We have never imagined or lived this kind of times earlier in our life. So all of, especially this was not limited to any of the country, but globally, the pandemic has struck and it has impacted. The responses were different of the different people or different countries, but the problem was same. So there was a wonderful learning all of us have got. We are ready with what kind of experiences we have gone through. We are ready with what kind of things we need to do. And I'm sure, today's interaction of next 50 minutes, I will try and take you through as to what is my feeling on it. And then we'll open up for interaction with you. About 10 minutes we'll spend on question and answer. Need be, I will, even able to give more 5-10 minutes. That's not the issue. So I think we can start with the presentation. Yeah, so typically, this is the topic which I want to dwell with, being competitive in the new normal. Now, I did make a mention to you, whatever we are living now and whatever we are going to live in future, there's going to be obviously a change in the way we are going to work. I will moreover say first as a work, but I'll cover the other aspects also. The whole of a life, the way we were living, be it a transition in terms of, learning, or for that matter, even imparting the training, traveling, or for that matter, even going and, celebrating some festivity. All this has changed. And we are going to accept this as the way of life, and that being, it will be called as a new normal. Now, there are researches around, there are, forecasts around, but all these forecasts really are speaking based on the best of the thought process which one could get. Because this phenomena does not have any reference of past. And this is completely new. And that being the reason, whatever we are going to face and come out of this would be called as new normal. Now, I must first call one important statement that you people are very lucky folks because you are starting now. If you're going to start now, I'm sure, next whatever 15 or 20 months are going to give you a lot of advantage because you are the ones which are going to face this time and come out as winners from this time. Okay, so that is the first point which I would like to say. Many times, a lot of people are asking question to themselves, should I start at now? And my perspective is simple. You must start at now. And let me give you one, small story, which I want to talk to you about. All of you would have read the news. Very recently, this MP girl who attended school by cycling 24 kilometers a day gets 98.7% in her 10th exam. I don't want to go through the whole of a story. All of you would have, read in the newspaper. But the point I want to drive the major or, important points out of it. 24 kilometers of cycling every day. Though it has been written very clearly in the, news that 50, 60 days or 60, 70 days in a year, she did this. And why she did this? She took that decision of getting into the government school, which is located around 12 kilometers. The names are being given, be it the place where she was earlier in the school, or for that matter, the new school which she had joined. My question is simple, if the girl who is just starting her 10th standard has this courage to achieve her goal, we have to reflect on ourselves. Are we ready for this? Okay. Obviously, the praise is there from the parents, the principal of the school, various other government bodies, or for that matter NGOs. But the point is, the focal or the pivot of the whole thing is this girl and her determination. And I would appeal all of you to look back within you. Do you really have this appeal? You have this particular determination in you which you would like to make something. And I would convert as a parallel of this cycling of 24 kilometers into your journey of next 24 months. So look at it, understand, internalize this story for yourself to see that how do you succeed to be 98.7. Well, I have been talking earlier also about the change management. And this is exactly what I'm saying is going to be a new normal. We have passed through some of the stages in this particular graph, which is there in front of you, which is coming from, Wills and Tower Watson. What they're talking typically about is initially it was a shock to us saying that, oh, this kind of a thing could happen. Then we were in the denial mode saying that, no, it's not going to happen to us. When it happened to us, we got frustrated. We got depressed. You would see, a lot of reactions in the society. We are on this line. Then we have started experimenting. The decisions have been taken of lockdown, unlock, all this aspect. One of the things which has majorly happened is we have accepted that this is going to be a part of our future. And this is going to be a part of our life and a business, work life, the way the countries run, the way the globe runs. And that's something which is accepted by us. And now what we are trying to drive from essentials to the excellence. And I'm sure, this path is for all of us. While I'm saying you're sitting in there when you're starting your professional career or you are learning in the management, we are starting with a new way of working with our employees, with our, employers, with our customers. So it's a new normal in every stakeholder's area of work. Going ahead, while I'm talking about a lot of optimism, there is a hope, there is optimism. I would want you to be keeping a track of a reality. And when you know the reality, you're able to know the optimism exists along with that reality. And reality check is something which is must for all of us. So I'll take you through 6 factors to watch for scanning the business environment. And I'm sure I have been talking about this whenever I used to come for the induction into your institute. I used to always say that unless and until you see what's happening in the world, you will not able to set your direction. Where do you want to go? Then I'll talk about 3 things which will change, and that I call them as WWW. It doesn't mean the World Wide Web or something which you're using for a long. Is something different. Then I will talk about employability, competency planning. I'm sure you have a clean slate. You can start now and build one-on-one, and I'm sure you will able to make it much better. And then coming to the core of what do you mean by being competitive? What is that which you need to be a competitive? Okay, starting with the first one now. 6 factors or 6 things to watch for. And I'll give you a bit of a commentary. All of us know this is known as a pestle model, and it has come from one of the prof from Harvard Business School. And what is the kind of points which are mentioned in that? If you are really ready to observe this point and keep a track of it, I'm sure this is going to help you in a big way. So the first point I would mention is political. All of us are aware when reading the news, we are getting the updates from various ways in the media. The global relationships are changing and the world order is changing. The trade, the laws, the scrutiny, everything is changing and will change further. Let's talk about typically India. India has got a huge support in a diplomatic way and even the material way while there was a conflict currently with our neighbor. Globally, it is very clear that the supply chain is going to change and the dependence on one country is going to reduce. India has already given a slogan, Atmanirbhar, and that means self-sufficiency. All this is going to hugely increase the opportunities to make a lot of things happen within India. And India, as we are reading in the latest news, that 20 or rather I would say 50% of population of India currently is aging around 25 and ready for the employment. Imagine on one side there are going to be opportunities, on the other side we are going to have a manpower to work on, and nobody stops us from growing further. Economic slowdown. Yes, there is a slowdown currently. There is a change in supply chain. We have stopped the imports. First time we are seeing there is a surplus. Equation of self-dependency is something which is going to work on. Economic pace has slowed down globally. It's not that it has not, we can't say that it's going at the same and there is as usual and there's no problem. There's a problem in last 3-4 months and would take some time to bounce back. One of the problem India faced is a labor migration, but I'm sure a lot of things are changing now. Okay, and you would see that our focus, there is always a opportunity with the problem. And I have been of the opinion this year we are going to have the best of the agriculture, and there are many chances that a lot of our industries will open in rural areas. Socio-cultural change, traveling restrictions, disruptions. We are not able to celebrate our festivals the way we used to do it. Healthcare has become priority. Social distancing has become norm. Now, all this is something which we have not lived earlier with. And that being a reason, we are trying to call it a new normal, still able to achieve what we were achieving in the normal. Then comes to a technology, and that's a very, very important core of a change currently. Now, if you look at in last few months, when you were at home, you tried to do buying completely online. Your banking transactions were online. Your various other aspects were online. Just imagine somebody who was not really savvy onto a technology have learned from their kids, and there are a lot of news in the paper on the same lines. So technology is going to be a major core which will change in every workplace. In fact, if you look at today's change, we are having our induction on the digital way, and that's a major change which we are all ready to face and ready to go through. Thermal scanners, wearables, social distancing, surveillance will be a normal at the workplace. And exactly that's what is the change which each employee or each professional is going to do, be it a education institute or be it a office or such other things. The technologies, as I make a mention about, and I'll speak further when we talk about the other slides, artificial intelligence, big data, machine learning, okay, augmented reality, virtual reality, all these are going to be a reality because a lot of things will be driven through this in work processes which we are going to have. Work from home, all of us are aware of. Connect from home, all of us are aware of. Automation of work is going to be one of the major factor which every organization, every institute, everywhere wherever the people connect is going to happen. Environmental changes, climate change, which is going to impact us directly on farming and agriculture produce. And this is something which is going to impact us in case it's not going right. But here also, I would say India today, for next 2 years at least, does not see this as a problem as per the predictions. Global events will be really impacted. And coming to a legal aspect, labor laws will definitely change. The consumer laws will change. Banking and insurance laws will change. You would find that investment which is happening is going to, the way the investors are investing, that's going to change. There will be other areas where the changes will be a customer laws. There will be a trade laws which will change. So all this is going to have the impact. The important, you keep on watching this, okay? Political, economical, socio-cultural, technology, and legal aspects as we go ahead. And that's very, very critical to keep a tab on. 3 Ws which I talk about is work, workplace, and work tools or work resources. And the first of it is workplace. We mean there is going to be a shrinkage in the workplace. And as we call it, the pin codes have changed. People can work from anywhere. And it's not necessary you'll be all sitting at one place and work. Organizations likes of Infi, TCS, and other IT companies have already declared their future plans that they're going to not go ahead and invest in the workplace. I have been making a mention that there are all the chances that Infosys may not build up a campus once more of 400 acres like Mysore, which they have done. Coming to the work content and the way we work is going to change. A lot of tech tools will come into the picture. All the jobs which are mundane, they will be automated because there's a shortage of a labor or a mundane talent nobody wants to pay the money for. Digitization, okay, machine learning, artificial intelligence, I have already spoken about. Now let me tell you one of the case studies which we have seen very recently. Philips in their manufacturing used to have an induction done for the laborers or the workers when they were joining. It was a simulation training and also 1 week of a training on a machine to teach them a lot of things. The whole thing has been compressed into 2.5 days by using artificial intelligence plus AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality combination. I got today one update on WhatsApp wherein one of the Kerala school is using AR VR to teach the students by showing the animals in the picture in the class, okay, as if they are factually physically being there. What does that mean? Philips could see very clearly a saving of about 3.5 days of production. So all this is becoming a reality. Flexible work cultures, best of the talent. Now this is something which is going to be a next thing which every organization will look for. And I have been talking about this for a long, saying when we as a consumer choose the best of the brands, I used to do this to all the students and I used to ask the question that if you're using iPhone, if you're using best of the cosmetic products, if you're using best of the sportswears, do you think corporate should compromise on not getting the best of the talent? Imagine corporate also is a consumer. And in case you are not Apples or iPhones of the world in the competitiveness of yours or your competencies, then you understand what's going to be your demand. You have 2 years to prepare for, to see that you're able to become something like a brand which is needed by your customers. Manufacturing is looking at Industry 4.0, advanced manufacturing, which also involves digitization and Internet of Things. So these two things are very critical for them. Work tools. integration of man and machine. And let me tell you one of the aspects. This is again from Pune, the case or the information which I've got. I was in one of the HR conferences, and one of the speaker was, or keynote speaker was, CEO of, Mellon Bank. BNY Mellon Bank in Pune has about 3,000 employees. And while his discussion, he has made a mention that out of 3,000, we have 200 robots. Now look at it. What does that mean? Roughly about 8% employees or work tools are not men. It is machine. How is that we are going to tackle it as we go ahead? If the ratio is 20-80 or 30-70, 30% machine, 70% men, because these machines are not going to ask for the increments, not a performance appraisal, nor any of the motivations which you do for other employees. So there's going to be a challenge for everyone, be it marketing, be it finance, be it HR. How do you deal with man and machine together? So that's where I said the work skills will change. There is a high rate of skill obsolescence. What you learn today will not be valid tomorrow. And that being a reason, mantra of continuous learning needed for striving and thriving. At the same time, there are definitely what is required is more with less. Now, what do I mean by that? Lesser resources, but higher output, not by squeezing. It is by efficiency. And what is another term which has been majorly used is known as resilience. Okay. And that's very critical for us to understand in the area of workplace, work, the way we work, and the work tools. All three are going to change for us. Coming to the way the business scenario will change is it was stable, it has become unstable. The lockdown and emergency had come in. Fuzzy is unclear kind of a situation currently, but it's going to get into a progressive growth. I have some of the important news which I'm kind of tracking, and where I see when I mean it as a progressive growth, it is something which is definitely going to happen. It's not that it's not going to happen, it is going to happen. And the way the recovery is happening, some of the signs of it have started showing already. And what they are, as we go ahead in the slides, I'll make a mention about it. Now, coming to what are the competencies or what are the things which you need to carry with you or practice is something given here. Let me explain. Skill and knowledge are something which you get. Now, when I define a skill, I say you have a skill which is either a broad-based skill or a depth-based skill. So when it is a depth, okay, vertical, it has been called as specialization. When it is horizontal, it is called as general skills. Okay, that is for a skill. Now let me define the skill for you. When you're getting somebody to drive your car, it's a skill because you're going to check, or when you appoint some electrician, you're going to check the certification of that electrician. When you check a driver, you check driver license, how old is a driver license, how much one has driven. And more practice, the skill becomes more and more better for you. Okay. When it comes to knowledge, that's something which you learn. You can read, you can practice, you can understand. But I have been always making this statement, and this is the difference between the campus to corporate journey. And this difference is very simple. I say there's a gap between knowing and doing. So to give an example, if I give you a book to read about swimming, book to read about driving, and book to about flying the plane, you do not become swimmer, driver, and pilot. For that, there's a combination required of both, and that's something which I say need to practice by you, that you should reduce to the greatest extent the gap between knowing and doing. And that's what is corporate going to expect. And believe it, you have a huge time with you currently to make it possible. So the 5 R's says react. Don't just sit. Realize. Now, when I say realize, what do I mean by that? What is that is your strength? How you're going to make it happen? Realize it. Resolve. Some of the areas I'm having a dilemma, I need to resolve that. And I have to reshape. Very clearly, I need to reshape and see that I start on the direction and be resilient. Resilient is the one who is ready to face the tough times or even having a plan B ready with them. And that's very critical, to be resilient in this particular thing and not to get scared on your actions. Then coming to 5 P's, proactive. All of us are aware what is proactive. Proactive doesn't mean that you need to be having some special qualities. It's something very clear that you are taking actually a time to react by thinking. So I always call it very simply 2 step back before 3 step forward, and that's a proactiveness which you need to work on. Be prepared, and that's something which is very, very critical. Are you really spending your time just whiling away your time, or are you using your time? Then pulling together all your resources, connects, whatever you have, be it human contacts to technology to other things to learning, all this you need to pull together. You be a problem solver than just being a problem and asking everybody your questions. And persistence, not giving up, ensuring that you go ahead and make it work for you. Education and training is going to help you. Skills and experience is going to help you. When I mean skills and experience, it's your own practice and your internship or such other things which you're doing where you're going to get a practical aspect. And that's very critical. Are you doing a process in internship which is going to really contribute directly to that organization's success, or for that matter, top line? Then you are really doing your internship, which is impactful. Extra specialty. This is the time when you are able to acquire the extra specialty which you want in your domain, your own area of specialization. And then what you need to have a competitive traits. So stable to progressive growth, you need to follow the 5 R's, 5 P's, and take the help of the base like education and training, skills and experience, extra specialty, and competitive traits. This is something which I always say, okay, if you want to be competitive, what is that is the definition of being competitive? The desire to be better than others, prevailing over others on winning the opportunities. It is nothing to do with war or anything. It has more to do with you being better to do or seek the opportunity. See here the graph which says everybody is running for success, but if you are ahead of them, then you are able to seek the opportunities better. And that doesn't come, anyways, that comes, it is always being, I've been calling this as inside out. It can't be outside in. So you're learning, or for that matter, I always, going for a so-called, weekend, as a weekend faculty, I used to tell my students saying that, look, whatever I'm going to teach you is going to be outside in. Unless you want to have it inside out for learning, the integration doesn't happen. And the same way, the competitiveness is such where it should be inside out along with the outside in. The inner desire to be successful or being more competitive is required for seizing the best of the opportunity. Now, what do I mean by here? If you look at the competency area and behavioral focus, which you need to have, is opportunity competency, recognizing what opportunities you would like to seize and develop yourself to seize that opportunity. Working and organizing competency, working and organizing, be it in the area of human, technology, and priorities. How many of you really are able to today understand how the human aspects are changing? Be it you are going into a human resource, you're getting into operations and such areas. How do you know the technology is changing? You're getting into the areas of marketing. How do you know the priorities are changing of a customer? If you're going into a banking and financial area, how do you know the whole of a transactions of money is going to change, or what are the strategy which will be adopted, be it by banking or non-banking financial corporations, or be it the investors, private equities or investment banks from abroad. Do you know their strategies? If you know that, you are able to organize and work on your competencies. Next strategy. Are you really evaluating what should be done by you as a important thing for the next normal? I know when you go through all the learnings which you're going to have, not only the induction, but further what you're going to learn will make you to set your direction in the right manner. The next one is engaging relationship competency, communication, collaboration, credibility, trust, person to person or group to group. They look up to everyone and say, oh, this is the person I can really work with, or this is the person, I can really keep my credibility on or trust on. Okay. Relentless commitment is something to develop a self, contribute in the areas of your interest, and shine more and more. Self-concept and self-competency. Now, when I talk about the self-concept, let me tell you what do I mean by that. Self-concept means how do you see yourself in the mirror? Are you a cat and you see yourself as a lion? Or are you a cat and you still see yourself as a cat? That sets your own self-concept, self-image, your self-belief, values, and what are you talking about. Your traits are coming based on what is your personality. You respond to a particular situation in a consistent manner based on your traits. So this is going to reflect into your decision making, your problem solving, your risk taking, you being creative and innovative. So understand this. I'm sure the slides will be given to you, so you can go through it and see that. How do you really make this particular thing happens for you? Very important slide. And here, what I want to do is I want you to, in my all the lectures, I generally do this, that I would like you to do some small test for yourself. And this test is in the similar manner. You need to pick up either of yellow side question or a green side question. Let me tell you, if you're picking up all 12 on any of the sides, then you are giving a wrong answers. So I'll give you about 3 minutes to go through this and tick for yourself how many yellows you have taken and how many greens you have taken. I've already made a mention. Anybody who's taking 12 at both the sides are not really being honest to themselves. So it's now to you for next 2 to 3 minutes. Look at the slide, start, writing your selection, how many you're selecting on yellow side, how many you're selecting on the green side. If you have any questions, you can ask me. You have 1 more minute to go. So are we done with the question here? Show of hands. You are not able to see B1. Can you move this particular, one moment. Now you are able to see. Can my position be removed, what I am being seeing here in the video? Can it be moved down, please? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so if you have done with it, let me tell you how do you score it for you. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have 3 on yellow, okay? And then you have rest of them. So total questions which we have are 12. Out of that, if you have 3 there and rest of the 9 here, then your score becomes on the scale of 100, okay, 75 as your score, 75%. What does that mean? You need to improve further 25% to be competitive. You will also know the areas to work on very clearly where the yellow has been picked up by you. Anybody who is picking up, I'm sure, some of you would have got a score starting right from 50, 6 this side, 6 this side. Doesn't matter at all. You have a huge opportunity to develop your skills. Being competitive, it's very easily possible for you. Okay. So the point is, what you need to do is to look at this as your action point as you go ahead to be competitive. Okay. I'm sure these are very simple words, but this has got a lot of things behind it to make the things really workable for you. And this is not something which I'm saying is very easy to put it together. So let me just say, my goals are vague. I know when you're starting your career, your goals may be vague. But am I really having opportunity? My goals are clear and well defined. How do I make the journey from yellow to green? I never call anything as red because that doesn't exist. Okay, so how do I move from here to here? Should be my target in next 2 years or whatever learning which I'm going to do to make my journey to go into the green. And when I take this at the end of my 1.5 year or 1 year and post which I'm taking a specialization, if I'm scoring even 75%, okay, I'm sure I should able to make it happen for me when I go as a professional. And believe it, when you are able to have all from the green side, nobody can stop you from succeeding. Because as I made a mention here, you are really able to have this competency areas which you are able to drive and work for yourself. And that's very, very critical from my perspective. Okay, so shall I go ahead? This is clear to everyone? Yes. Now, this is the one which I was making a mention about. 2 days back, Economic Times displays this for India, saying that on lockdown, they have given information about 9 industries. Within India, FMCG, retail, smartphone market, then ride-hailing companies, digital payments, realty, building constructions, hospitality, power, and petroleum. Out of these 9, if you look at the verdict, okay, the average verdict is there for 1, 2, 3. 1 is above average, okay. Then comes to 4 and 5. So 5 has got the rating of average or 1 above average. 1 FMCG has a good as a rating. So if you look at our scorecard, just about 1 month post the unlock, you're able to see on a scale of 9, okay, we are at average for 5, good for 1, and 3 for bad. I'm sure this progress card is really very, very encouraging to us. Absolutely encouraging to us. And today, I don't know that slide I do not see here. That slide is also there with me, which says that if you refer to Economic Times today, you'll find that the world over, the recovery has been talked in 2 terms, whether your recovery in the economy happens by the V shape or by the U shape. U shape takes more time, whereas V shape is a recovery which is faster. Now, this has been defined by the economist, and I was reading one of the report from Deloitte on the recovery for the India. And let me give you that particular input which I've read from Deloitte, which says that if pandemic is really controlled by us by September, our recovery is going to be by second quarter of 2021. If we delay it by 3 months, the recovery of economy to be in a full-fledged manner would be by end of 2021. These are the 2 scenarios which have been given for a V and U. And believe it or not, this goes to very clearly state that the economy recovery will be a matter of 6 months to 9 months. where we should be back in the normal, because at this point of time in the new normal, we have accepted that there is going to be a pandemic which is going to coexist, and we have to live with it, we have to fight for it, and we ensure that we take care of ourselves. India, the mortality rate, all of us are knowing, is something which is really not so bad as we were thinking. And that being a reason, this is something which is unavoidable nuisance, and we have to live with it. And that preparation we have to do more and more to go ahead and make our economy happen. So I was referring to the article which has come in today's Economic Times, which talks about V-shaped recovery. And also on a Sunday Economic Times supplement, it was very detailed article which was given about India V-shaped recovery. Today, it is talking about all the countries, USA, Europe, Germany. It talks about India also. And the questions have been asked about the V-shaped recovery for all these nations. And it typically talks about there are certain events which are going to make it possible. So many countries like of US have not done lockdown. What is good or bad, I am leaving apart. But economically, they have not come back and said that they are in a doldrums. Okay. So if you ask my personal opinion, things are good. They will remain good. They will be excellent as we go ahead in 6 months to 1 year time. We very well know how we can come back. And some of the important messages which I want to read out for you. Where there is a hope, there is a faith. Where there is a faith, the miracle happens. And we have seen this in our life also. Okay, and this is what has been said by Nelson Mandela, that I'm not an optimist, but the great believer of hope. So if we have a hope, we'll be able to make the things possible. When you can't control what is happening, then challenge yourself to control the way you are responding to what is happening. And that is where the power is. So you have to consider that, do I really have a power to respond in the right manner if the things are not in my control? Sometimes it takes an overwhelming breakdown to have an undeniable breakthrough. So there are all the chances we will able to definitely have the undeniable breakthrough as we are going through the crisis today. And partly we are out of it too, I would say, economically. What if everything you are going through, and this applies to you perfectly, is preparing you for what you asked for? Now, this is going to prepare you in a big way. Okay, and more than what you asked for, other than only what you have asked for. Let me tell you, in last about 15 days, I have addressed 2 management colleges from Pune, 1 from Bangalore, and 1 more of it. Okay, the 3 from Pune and 1 from Bangalore. And the one of the college had the second year starting and the induction was there, but rest 2 had the batches starting. And the questions were similar. Should I be doing it from Pune? I said, why? What is the problem? Either you do it from Pune, you do it from anywhere. But I would suggest Pune would be a right place to do it, because Pune today also has a umpteen opportunities. Other than Bangalore, if any other setup which has got the maximum information technology and so-called other businesses, be it automobile, manufacturing, marketing, services, Pune is the hub for majority of it. Second, should I take it up now? You take it up now, you take it up after 1 year, the situation will be more or less same. But you take it now, you'll be early starter and you will be able to beat and learn much more than if you take the time. Somebody who takes a time is really not taken the first step when the challenging times are around. If you take a step when the things are, these are the people whom people will look up to when you pass out. And believe it or not, it is imparting the knowledge and taking the knowledge. It's not the question whether you're doing it online or you're doing it otherwise. The Western world has been learning majorly on a so-called virtual way. And do you think their competency is less? Their research is less? We all refer to their research. Many things and models we pick up from there. It's not they all are learning in the classroom. It is our mindset which we need to go through a change, and that change management will help us to make it better for all of us. Okay, so that's my message. with that, I'll just quickly repeat what you need to remember is few important things which I've said in the initial stages. 6 factors to watch for scanning the business environment and the opportunities which are around us. 3 W's which are undergoing the change and will change will be workplace, okay, the work, content of the work, and the third, work resources. You need to work on your competency planning, and nothing but this is the best time for it. And for being competitive, go into more green zone from a yellow zone. So that's it from my side. It's 6:04. I am about 1 minute less than the 50 minutes which I am supposed to finish. I finished, and over to you, Arpit sir, to take it forward.
Okay, sir. So I am ready with the questions.
Sure.
My first question to you is, work from home needs improved skill sets. How can we succeed and also maintain family balances?
Okay.
The question from my first year.
Sure. Perspective is simple. Let you look at me. I have been working from home since 12th of March this time. So I have been working, and let me share my experiences. There's nothing to learn. Okay. It is to more adapt. How do you adapt?
Adaptability.
So adaptability, okay, alignment. Don't you think that you have been saving the traveling time? Bangalore, sitting at Bangalore, I can very easily say the productivity of all my employees have improved because they have saved their 2 hours of going 2 hours, coming 2 hours, roughly about average 3 hours they have saved. Is there anything which I need to learn in technology? No. I bit of a, I would say learning curve is very short and quickly you're able to learn. Your productivity is higher, your focus is higher. You need to maybe get adapted to it, even for learning. And believe it or not, I was making a mention about the Kerala school, which has started virtually. Imagine if the kids, and anyway, this generation which is coming up, the new kids less than 5 years, less than 10 years, have been called anyway as the kids which are, generation X, or generation, tech generation kids. So point is adaptability. If I can learn at this age, you guys can do it, within no time. And that's my response. Yeah. It's positive.
Sir, my next question to you is, being a non-technical student, how can I stay relevant? Because more or less anything and everything today is engulfed or is vibed with technology.
Okay, so let me ask, don't use iPhone? You don't use any of the equipments or the e-commerce sites to order something?
Yes, we do.
You use Swiggy, you use Uber, you use Ola. Are you not dealing with the technology? The guy who comes to deliver Swiggy to you, or Big Basket guy, or any other guy, he knows technology. Do you think you are better or less than him?
No, not at all.
Because he runs the GPS to know how should he reach to your place. I'm sure, technology is something which will make you learn automatically. So there's nothing known as non-technical background. I'm from HR, but I'm able to deal with the technology, understand it very well. And it's a question of just being, again, trying to be having that willingness to do it. Nothing upheaval, nothing problematic. Because see, one of the things when the technologies have come in, there are 2-3 concepts which are coming, which are very, very critical. And let me tell you that all of us know that we get totally involved when the iPhone is given to you. Why is it so? Because the user interface for the iPhone is unbelievably great. And it is always that whenever you start the iPhone, you start exploring a new thing into it. So believe it or not, the people who have given you the technology have made a point to have a user interface which will engage the user. Number one. And number two, secondly, what is coming into the force is known as design thinking. Again, design thinking is done more from the perspective of how it is best being used by the user. So technology is not a hurdle. Your mindset is a hurdle. Pull it out. You'll able to be a technical person. Everybody is technical today. Grandfathers are sending every day's good morning message are technical folks, and the ones who are chatting on a WhatsApp video are a technical folks. That's my take.
Sir, the next question that I'll ask you is, what will be the promising sectors you recommend post COVID-19 that I should be preparing for? This is
What skills you said? Come again?
what sectors, what
Okay.
promising sectors
Business sectors you should look for.
one should prepare for.
Okay. See, look at the new way of living the life. Okay. All of us have gone through it. The experience is same everywhere. What has changed for us? Typically, what are the industries which have changed for us? We don't buy cars. Okay. We don't go into theaters. We don't travel. We don't go into hotels, but we order food at home. Okay. That's something which we do. We order a lot of grocery. Okay. Pharma industry, we are dependent on. Hygiene aspects, we are dependent on. Healthcare, we are dependent on. Technology related, videos and other products. Online learning, we are dependent on. Online training and development, we are dependent on. Online employee engagement, we are dependent on. Online, business transitions, we are depending on. So when you look at the industry, some of the industries will take time to recover, such as travel and tourism, because there is a scare, fear, anxiety around. Obviously, real estate, then comes to automobile. But believe it or not, every industry has a strategy to bounce back.
Right.
If you look at it now, what you should be keeping is an open mind. Allow 6 months to 1 year pass and then decide your direction. Because everybody today is, coming back into recovery. Who knows? In real estate, they will be able to get the robots which are able to build your building in 90 days. They'll be able to develop the technology which will make your buildings within 90 days. And the whole thing scenario could change. Already the automobile sector is moving from a petrol diesel car to electric cars. Who knows? Like you see a puncture wallas around, you will have guys who are going to charge your batteries, and you will see electric cars are going to be in dozens.
Absolutely.
So the point is, watch it for 6 months to 1 year. Don't fix your mind on anything at this juncture. Okay. If you look at it, for me, the marketing is not changing. For me, the sales does not change. For me, the finance does not change. For me, the HR doesn't change. Okay. Operations doesn't change. Nothing is changing as a role. I need to really realign this role to the new change. So example, we as HR are ensuring that we are connected with all the employees. One, from the perspective of their productivity. Two, from the perspective of their well-being, health, happiness. Three, from the perspective of how they are experiencing. In last 4 months' time, we have onboarded more than 100 employees virtually. We have done an exit of about 25, 30 employees virtually. We have had a connect with them. So what did change for me? Has HR changed? No. My way of doing that transition has changed. So guys, understand, wait for 6 months to 1 year, but do not change your basic fundamental core. It's not required. Okay, that's my view.
Sir, what is your view on the impact of trade loss we might have due to China conflict?
Due to?
China conflict, Indo-China conflict.
Trade loss. Okay, see, every time, this kind of conflict gives you the opportunity. And if you, again, I'm saying chase up. I gave you 6 factors. Okay. If you chase these 6 factors, you will get to know. In a short term, it's going to be a trouble. But when I say short term, I do not mean 5 years. Short term for me means 6 months. In today's world, short term is 6 months. And the long term is 1 year and above. It's not, it's not been defined in years. No company, no organization plans for the strategy for 5 years. They plan strategy for quarter. So the life is quarter. And the reason the conflict, which, anyway, the conflict is away, but this is going to give us the biggest opportunity to produce internally. Do we have a capabilities? Yes. Are we able to replace everything? No. It's going to be a process which will take. But would it have a trade losses for us? In fact, there are related countries, and there's a lot of information available on the related countries which are not China. Whatever is necessary will depend on them instead of depending on China, and over a period of time, whichever is possible. See, understand one of the core aspect of it. Some of the raw material is cheaper from particular place because the raw material is, or the basics of that raw material is available there. Okay. Whereas if they are not available with you, you need to anyway import it. Only thing, you will change your destination from China to something else. And that is for necessary things you'll be doing it. But rest of the things, you will ensure that you're able to produce. And this even impacts by 70-30, you're going to see huge economical, progress rather than what we have lost in a short term. Okay?
Absolutely. Sir, I will not take more than 2 questions now. Last 2 questions.
Go ahead, no issues. I told you I have 5-10 minutes more. That's not the issue at all.
Sir, this question is, what will be the job market in next 2 years?
Okay. For me, one thing I said, there's nothing, as such from the past which can predict the future. And whatever future guess we are taking at this point of time is based on the experience you have earlier. So let me give you 2 or 3 events I've seen myself in my professional life. The first event I'll talk about is Y2K, year 2000. 20 years back, some of you were just in the kids. Yeah. Suddenly there was a uproar and everybody has become technology professionals. And once the 2000 year gone off, 2001, there was a huge unemployment. And people felt the IT industry, so they used to call it, the bubble has busted. I don't think the impact was, quite long. Within about 6 months' time, we were back into the rolling. Some of the BPO started, some of the IT services companies started out of India, and so on and so forth. Come ahead, 2008-9, all of us are aware of the recession. How many days? And I was speaking on one of the engineering campus, and I asked, people are not coming into the campus. What do you think will happen? I said, this is the time. And believe it, I was doing the best of the guesswork. It was not a prediction. I said, this is the time. The biggies will enter the market to ensure that they get the talent, and then everybody will follow. I was a part of Cognizant at that point of time. So I made a statement that Cognizant does not have a plan immediately at this juncture. Neither, TCS has, not Infy has. 2008-9, I'm talking about 2009. That was a year when IBM and Accenture first entered the campuses, and then the rest of us followed. But the point is, nothing stops. The employment does not stop. And as I made a mention in the beginning, our 50% of the population is aged, you guys, that is 25. So there are opportunities which will be created for you. The point is this, I need to be flexible enough and be ready with my plan B. So if you ask me what's going to be the scenario in 2 years' time, it's going to be very, very positive. Because these 2 incidences told us, even, World Trade Center fall, everybody felt the whole economy will go bust. And let me tell you a very important thing, what is happening. India is a different mindsets altogether. During the World Trade Center event, okay, post that event, in 6 months' time, India had a stock of gold, which was 1/3 of US economy's reserves. And this was all household buying. Today, if you look at in last 4 months' time, the fixed deposit with banks have increased phenomenally. Now, these are the aspects which we are different than others. Okay. And that is where I'm saying in 2 years' time, you'll see definitely a very bright aspect rather than, what you are seeing at this juncture. Yeah. That's my take.
Sir, this is the last question.
Sure.
And very interesting question. One of my students who wishes to pursue HR has asked, she says, lockdown has been no less than a test for one's mental toughness. how you are psychological, how you see psychological shift in your employees and what the company has done for them.
Okay. Now, the first and foremost, why do you think there will be a mental impact? See, anybody who feels helpless, okay, would feel that I'm in a problem. There are different personalities. One who expresses, okay, the one who keeps to themselves. So identify the kind of employees you have. And this is where I'm saying, if you're really having a good connect with your employees, I'm not saying, in 1,000 people company, I'll able to connect with each one, but I have a layers. I have their delivery managers, I have their leads, I have their team leaders to whom I can talk and understand who is what in their team. So the first point I would say is connect. Second point is communication. So what did we do in our organization, which will tell you? The minute this happened, we started doing all hands meet with each of the teams separately. So verticals are there: banking, financial vertical, healthcare vertical, logistic vertical. Each of the business unit, we started doing the all hands. Now, this is where our CEO, co-CEO, and the leaders used to be there on the call. We have talked to each one of them, okay? And we have ensured that their questions are answered, their fears are answered. There was a very transparent aspect which has been done. They've asked, is there going to be a fear that will be thrown out? And the CEO said, well, I can take care of all of you for next 12 months. That's the assurance.
Absolutely.
Second part, okay, post which, as a HR, we are running a lot of engagement activities, which has got even the advisory services. They're able to reach out to the counselors and talk about if they have any issues which they do not want to share. Now, this is for the people who keep it to themselves. They can share with the counselors and try and get the inputs from them. We are doing a lot of engagement activities, such as how do you do parenting during COVID, yoga sessions, other sessions where we are having a games, quizzes. Now, this is the time when we have not involved only employee. We have involved parents for the yoga session. We have involved spouses for cooking and other areas. We involved, even kids where we run the competition, be it, quizzing, be it a drawing competition, be it a creativity which they can show. Now, what is this typically? Our scope has increased from looking into the employees to look into the whole of our family.
Excellent.
Very importantly, we are keeping a track of everybody's health. We are spread out in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Chennai, and Mumbai. We are ensuring that each of the talent engagement partner from HR keep a connect with everyone. And in case, and they have been given confidence by us that we'll be helping you any of the issues which are there. We have enhanced the insurance covers for the folks.
Okay.
Okay. These are all the aspects of once you know that you have been taken care.
Correct.
While I'm saying all good things, let me tell you, some of the organizations have really faced the problem. Okay. They had to, let go certain people. Now, how do I do the process of letting go? Is very critical. Am I really talking to them and give the confidence? I've seen some of the folks who have, postponed or reduced the salaries. They have told folks, look, today, this is our situation, very transparently. This is our situation. That's where we have to let you go. Some of them have ensured that they are being given some choices outside because it's always possible. Okay. Some of them have been told what qualities they have and where they can try. So this counseling, this guiding, even when you are getting rid of somebody, lot of industries have done this. So is there a psychological fear? If you're in the zone where you feel that you're not taken care, you'll be in a psychological problem. But otherwise, the expectation of employees have remained same. The so-called, responsibility of an employer has gone up. And each of the sensible function, the responsibilities have gone up. That is my answer to it.
Brilliant, sir. It was a super session you made this evening. Your positivity and optimism has always been contagious. You have been kind, supportive,
Thank you.
and a real mentor to our students. It was
Sure.
wonderful to have you from Bangalore and
Thank you so much.
by students. And we'll be.
Arpit, it is always a pleasure to interact with the students, though I can't physically see them. I would welcome if they have questions. You can share my email ID. They can write to me. I can
Certainly, sir.
put them on that questions. Yeah. So, obviously, with the office, whatever time I'll get, I'll definitely answer their questions. But thank you so much for calling me, and also all the best to the students. See that this is the opportunity to seize, and don't just worry. The things will be all right according to me. Will be better rather. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
wonderful evening ahead, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All the best to all.